What's the story? What's your story?
My story shit, I just got out of jail for beat a body into attempts like what December. I just got out, started rapping shit. I got the crazy story from the drop. Got the whoa.
Welcome to Hide and Seek TV. First off, I want to thank everyone out there who helped me get to my 500 subscriber goal. Let's try to get me to 1,000 now. Keep subscribing. Keep checking out my videos. I'm really appreciating all the support, because this right here is like it's amazing to be able to get the truth out there. You know what I mean? And I'm really about to do a special right now on the whole situation. I'm gonna elaborate further on what I mean when I'm talking about the whole aspect of King Von and King David, aka David Barksdale, because what I want to talk about, as we already know, even his sister and everyone came out was already talking about how he wasn't, related to David Barksdale. You know what I'm saying? He even said himself how he got the name King David. I'm actually gonna play the clip in a minute and chime on in. Just let me play this clip and chime in right quick.
New episode of Welcome to My Neighborhood on Silver TV. The term grandson came from when I was in jail. Some old head, he got to calling me grandson and shit. Then he said I be acting how I move and shit. They started calling me grandson. And
he said how they start calling him grandson. And when you understand, remember I said the grand, aka like royal son of David. And the whole aspect of that representing nothing like the Messiah, how they do these stories time and time again in the game and hip hop. When you understand how all this stuff works, I'm going to use different examples in a minute. But when you pay attention to the whole aspect of that, what I want to mention on this whole thing, which is what really blew my mind, is how he said he got the name when he was in jail. Now, when you understand the whole aspect of this world that we're living in the spiritual realm, you're a king and you're royal and you're high. And in this world, it's like a prison. The truth have to set you free. Hear how he said that they call him grandson. You feel what I'm saying? Once he got out of jail. And when you understand that whole aspect of that, which is amazing, because when you understand the Messiah role, this is how they always play these roles time and time again. When you understand the Messiah role, what is it? You already know the aspect of the Messiah being on earth, being rejected, by his own people, etc. You feel what I'm saying? It's like a prison, but he is the truth that come to set you free. You know what I mean? The Son of God. But I'm going to delve into what I'm talking about on that in a minute. Because when you understand this too, when I was talking about the whole aspect of the North and the South, of the North and Southern Kingdom, you already know, as it's written in Ezekiel 37, about how the two kingdoms of Israel should come back together and become as one stick. You know what I'm saying? They should become as one, the North and Southern Kingdom, when they split apart. And what I want to mention on that right quick is when you understand that whole aspect of what I was really saying, not what I was trying to say, and what I was saying, when you understand how the enemy works, as it's written anyway in Isaiah 14, as it's written, Satan clearly says in Isaiah 14:14, I will ascend above the height of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Do you feel what I'm saying with this? Because if you obviously, people will be, oh, what do you mean by the two? This ain't got nothing to do with the southern and northern kingdom of Israel, man. What I'm trying to say is practically everything Satan does is to be as the Most High, to imitate and bring confusion and to cover up truth. So what he does is he uses everything the Most High does. He uses it on the left-hand side to confuse versus to liberate and enlighten and lead you on a righteous path. Hence the whole aspect of the South and the North aspect of why the Civil War. Remember, they had to battle each other, and then that's when the North came into rulership and everything came to flow together. They wanted to conquer the South. And what I want to delve into that, because remember, after the Civil War, what happened? You feel what I'm saying? After the Civil War, that's when America became what? United. Everything started to really flow. And when you understand that too, when you understand Abraham Lincoln, like I was talking about how he's from Illinois and how he used to be in Chicago as well. When you look at Abraham Lincoln, the name Abraham is what? Just like the forefather of Israel, the founding father of Israel. And what all Abraham means is what? A father of many nations. Do you feel what I'm saying? This is why when you pay attention to how all this stuff flowed together, this is why after the time of the Civil War, like years down the line, obviously, But after the time of that, you had who? Woodrow Wilson. You remember the president Woodrow Wilson? Remember he sold America out to what? The Jewish bankers. And when you understand the whole aspect of the Jewish, when we already know who the true Israelites, the true people are, the so-called blacks, you know what I mean, in America, when you understand this whole theme of that, the synagogue of Satan, man, the false Jews. Notice why he had to sell out America to after the Civil War to the Jewish bankers, because all that was symbolism for the aspect of them trying to, become called as, the sense of being a true people and it being a true blessed people, the whole aspect of that. Pay attention, because you remember after the whole aspect of the kingdoms being split with the Israelites, remember they come back together as one, and then they should be in, everything should go into into the essence of the Exodus coming into fruition, where they go into the kingdom and and dwell in rulership in the promised land, over those who were their captors, who had them captive. You see what I'm saying? That's why he had to do this whole thing of setting it all up with the Jewish bankers, because they was trying to say, okay, now we're about to go into living in prosperity on a higher level, and really bring forth even more confusion. So you got to understand what all this stuff is talking about, man. Because when you understand it too, notice David Barksdale. Remember, David Barksdale is literally from where? He's from Mississippi. He's from the South. And he died in where? Chicago, up north, right? King Von is from where? It's from the north, out in Chicago, and he dies where? In the South. But what I want to talk about on that aspect, you remember King David in the scripture, obviously, is from where? The Southern Kingdom. He ruled over the Southern Kingdom, man. You see what I'm saying? We already know about this, and how the Messiah will root from the royal bloodline of David. Remember that the Messiah was born where? In Bethlehem, which is where? In the southern aspect of Judah. I mean, of Judah. You feel what I'm saying? Of Jerusalem. Come on, man. This stuff is all in our face. It's just all about who has the eyes to see. This is why, like as it's written anyway in Romans 1, let me get my point across, concerning his son, Messiah our Lord, which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. You already know, as it's written anyway, like when I was talking about the aspect of my last video, I wasn't saying the Messiah was like grafted in. I'm just talking about in the sense of him being born into the lineage, and then through him show the Israelites who went away from the covenant, who come into the faith and who believe in the Messiah, shall be grafted back into the house of Israel, man. Come on, man. It's all in our face. You feel where I'm going? Because as it's written anyway, in Matthew 19:28, Messiah said, truly I tell you, at the renewal of all things, when the Son of Man sits on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Hint, the whole aspect of all of this stuff, man, it's literally all about like who's able to see what is really going on. This is why, as you already know, like I said, Messiah is obviously from Jerusalem, aka you look at the Southern Kingdom, and where was he crucified? He was crucified in Rome, which is what? The north. And I'm gonna get into that deep in a minute. But like I want to say right quick, as it's written, Lucifer, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? You see where I'm going with this? He said, I would ascend into heaven. I would exalt my throne above the stars of God. Who are the stars of God? As it's written, with Abraham. Remember, Abraham was told that your nations shall be as the stars. You know what I'm saying? And in Deuteronomy 28, that they, even though we was as stars, we will be brought down, because we'll become few in number, because people will go under the curses instead of the blessings. But when you understand this whole thing right here, like I was talking about the Illuminati pyramid, how you have the all-seeing eye. And when you understand the all-seeing eye, look under it. It's literally no cap piece under there. It's a missing capstone. Why? Because all that represents is nothing but the Messiah being the headstone that they try to knock off and try to be high above them. Hint, the whole aspect of the Windy City. And remember on the movie It, remember you had the balloons and all of that. Remember when the balloons, obviously, that represent them trying to because remember Billy on the movie It, remember they had the balloons, and all that represents is them trying to go above the Most High, because like I've been talking about, the name Billy is short for William, and as it's written in Exodus 3:14, the Most High's name is, one of his names is I Am. Remember that whole aspect. So the will of I Am. That's why they have the whole aspect of the floating eye above the pyramid. And what I want to mention too, right quick, I'm gonna mention this play. This is from the movie Shark Tale. And when you understand the whole aspect of how all of the themes of everything, like how they put so many subliminal messages in these cartoons, just pay attention to this clip, and I'm gonna chime on in.
The Shark Slayer.
Ira, over here.
Sorry. The Shark Slayer.
Where do I find him?
He's from the South Side.
You hear what I'm saying? He's from the South Side. You see that because he slayed the shark. What was the shark they talking about? The shark was literally nothing but the beast out the sea, aka, Satan bringing forth one world order, one world agenda. Because like I've been talking about, the whole aspect of grafting in the kingdom is for every, once you graft the north and the south together. Remember I was talking about the whole aspect of Israel becoming one, as it's written in Ezekiel 37, then shall the nations cleave, and then shall Israel possess the kingdom. Hint the whole aspect of them having a civil war, and then they having the rappers, from Chicago dying in Atlanta and etc. And why do you think hip hop, the South rules hip hop? You remember you had UGK, remember you had Texas, aka the Lone Star State, aka Star of the East, and you had the Underground Kings. Remember that whole aspect. It was the South coming into rulership in hip hop, because the Messiah is from where? The Southern Kingdom. They do all of this stuff for blasphemy, man. Do you feel where I'm going with this? And I want to really delve into this even further, because as I really paid attention to that, like I said, you bring the nations together, then shall they so get possession of the kingdom. Remember, I was already talking about the Civil War, and then I was talking about the whole aspect of Woodrow Wilson selling off America to the Jewish bankers so America could come into prosperity. Remember, I was just talking about that. All of this stuff is literally all in our face. You see what I'm saying? I want to delve into this even further, because when you know about O Block, O Block is what, 64th Street and King Drive. And when you know about the number 64, all that is the number 64, when you go into the root of it, is what? The number 8, which is nothing but the cube. And I'm going to delve into that later on. But when you know about like the King Drive aspect, notice the most dangerous place in Chicago is 64th and King Drive. Because when you understand the King aspect, Dr. King, you remember they had the one, it was all, like I said, the I Have a Dream speech was literally written by the Jewish. It was all scripted. And when you understand that, the I Have a Dream, remember Nebuchadnezzar had the dream of the Babylonian kingdom coming into full power. But when you understand that, the I Have a Dream, remember the Pharaoh's dream during the time of Joseph and everything? Let's just keep this thing flowing. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up. Remember, and this was at the Lincoln Memorial. Hear what I'm saying? This is at the Abraham Lincoln Memorial out in D.C. He said, I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up. Remember, I just said that Abraham was the forefather of Israel, and all Abraham means is what? Father of many nations. And live out the true meaning of his creed. We will hold the truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, because that all represents nothing but them trying to bring forth the one world agenda. Remember I said the Messiah's one world agenda is Israel coming together, dwelling as one, with the nations cleaved unto them, in honor and in worship of the Most High. You feel what I'm saying? And as it's written in Daniel 2:43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with merry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Because this all represents, this is all talking about the whole aspect of one world order. That's all it's talking about, man. Do you feel where I'm going with this? It's all it's talking about is the sense of Satan doing what? The one world order, aka the beast out the sea, the leopard, the mixed leopard. You feel where I'm going with this? And hint the whole aspect of the iron mixed with clay, because that's all that's talking about is good and evil dwelling together as one. Because now you remember during the time of Babel Tower, for those who are familiar with the times of Noah, and as it's written, we are living in the times of the days of Noah. You know what I'm saying? And when you understand that, the iron and clay, all that represents is flesh and soul dwelling together as one, man. Being in dwelling in wickedness. Because you remember the Babel Tower was made out of brick. You remember wood, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. But Satan's like, we coming back stronger now. This is why the whole aspect of what I want to mention right quick. Obama said we come back stronger. Because what was he talking about? He said signs one of the final steel beams that will be installed as the framework of the Port of Authority of New York. Remember that. You see what I'm saying? And Michelle Obama and all them actually signed the beam as well. Because remember, Michelle Obama to herself, or he's, whatever you want to say, is from O Block. You feel what I'm saying? Michelle Obama is from O Block. You feel where I'm going? And notice how they said they come back stronger, because that represent nothing but the iron and clay versus the Babel Tower, which the Most High destroyed in the flood. And when you know about this, remember I was talking about the whole aspect of the iron and clay. Notice how the lady who killed Dante Wright, the cop who killed Dante Wright, her name was Kim Potter. And all the name Potter means is literally nothing but what? The term workers in metal as well as earthenware and clay. So that notice why all of this stuff is right in our face about everything coming together, man. Pay attention to that. How her name literally means nothing but practically, the iron and clay worker. And notice why her name was, like I said, her name was Kim Potter. And then you remember George Floyd, you had him, remember he had that porn tape with Kimberly Brinks. Remember that. And all that, when you understand the whole aspect of the Osiris, remember in the Egyptology, you had the Osiris. And what the Osiris, remember when he died, what did they do? Remember the Isis, remember she took the penis and she made like a fake penis, just enough so that she can bring forth the savior of, in that pagan aspect, Haru. You feel what I'm saying? Notice how all of this stuff comes together, man. And how all Kim means is what? The Simberg Field, aka the Royal Fortress. Because they're trying to say that they made it to the Royal Fortress, man. And you notice why Dante Wright, remember on my video I mentioned about Dante Wright, all Dante means is what? Lasting and enduring. And then Wright don't mean nothing but son of the carpenter. Who's the carpenter? The Messiah, the builder, the true builder. You see what I'm saying? That's why I was talking about it earlier about the Illuminati pyramid, how they literally knocked the cap piece off because they want to knock the Messiah off as the head. They want to be the builders. You feel where I'm going with this? Hence why Chicago is the windy city. Because when you understand the wind, remember Satan is obviously the prince of air. And when you understand the bull aspect, all that represents is nothing but Baal, aka what? The god of sacrifice, the god of thunder, rain, Lord. You feel what I'm saying? Master or Lord, Baal, the bull god, Satan. And all, like I said, how Satan does everything. Because as I said earlier, what I want to reiterate on this again. Remember in Isaiah 14:14, he said, I will be above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Notice the whole aspect of the bull, the windy city. And you notice how, and when you understand the four living creatures in the scripture, you'll know, about the four living creatures is what? The sacred bull. Hence why Texas is called the Longhorn State, because remember the Longhorns of salvation. That's why the high priest used to have to sacrifice the bull for his whole family, because it was sacred. It's a royal beast. And then you had the aspect of the man, you had the aspect of the Lion of Judah, and then you had the eagle. Because remember, that's why America uses the eagle. Everything that they do is to mock the Messiah, man, and blaspheme his name. You feel where I'm going with this? So I'm going to keep this thing flowing some more. And I want to show the Babel Tower right quick for those who probably ain't familiar. But when you pay attention to this, notice how the Babel Tower was the tower that reached heaven. Why? Because what? It was about to reach heaven. Why? Because of one world order, one world agenda, one world language. To be exalted as God himself, rise above the clouds. And hence why King Von had to die in Atlanta. Obviously, he's from the Windy City. And you already know Atlanta is called what? The Gate City of the South. So when you understand the whole aspect of the wind, like how a wind open the door, open the gates, because they're trying to say what? Come on, y'all. When you understand the whole aspect of that, they're trying to say that they're unleashing their agenda. Everything's coming into fruition. Hence why Biden won the election right after the Vaughn death. The same day Vaughn dies, Biden wins Georgia. I've been talking about in the last 2 Vaughn videos, but I want to mention this some more about the whole aspect of the Windy City. Notice once the gate opened, remember this is the same year with all of the stuff going on with the respiratory. I don't really like to mention the name, but everybody already know about the disease that attack your lungs. And when you understand about this whole aspect, George Floyd, remember the same year, what's his name, Vaughn was, alive at the time. You had George Floyd die where? In Minneapolis. And remember, I was already talking about like Eric Gardner, how he had the I can't breathe. George Floyd had the I can't breathe. Alton Sterling, the I can't breathe. And notice why they said Dante Wright died over alleged air freshener on his rearview mirror, because Satan is the prince of air, hint the air freshening. Remember I said Dante don't mean nothing but lasting and enduring, and Wright don't mean nothing but what? The son of the carpenter. So when you understand all of this stuff, it's all in our face, the whole aspect. That's why King Von had to die in Atlanta, because they're saying, okay, we about to do the whole aspect of the I can't breathe, because the I can't breathe means what? Remember when the Messiah, the crucifixion, to finish him off, what did they do? They put the spear through his side and blood and water came out. You feel what I'm saying? Even though that represents like, you being saved through the Messiah aspect, but I'm talking about in a sense of like the I can't breathe. You can't breathe with all of that in your lungs, man. This is all blasphemy. This is why they do these things. Hint the whole aspect, like I said, of the old block. Because when you understand this, you remember the cube. Remember, like I said, the 64th. Literally, when you go into like when you root it down, it becomes 8, which becomes what the cube. You feel what I'm saying? The aspect of the cube. And when you understand the movie, remember the movie Transformers, the old cartoon Transformers, you remember the cube was the way for life. Remember they said that through the cube came life. And this is why you had your boy Optimus Prime. Remember he said before time began, there was a cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it has the power to create worlds and fill them with life. For a time we lived in harmony. But like all great powers, some wanted it for good, others for evil. So the war began. Come on, y'all. The North versus the South. Like, come on, man. It's all of this stuff is literally right in our face. Hence the whole aspect of it's the battle of the cubes. The cube that produced life and then the cube of Saturn. You feel where I'm going with this? And I'm going to keep this thing flowing some more because I really want to elaborate on this. I'm going to play, you already know Nas' name don't mean nothing but Nazareth. That's why you got the Lil Nas X. You know, it's why he had to be from Georgia and why he had to ride the horses. Because as you know, Satan will, as the sense of the horse, as it's written anyway, that they prepare their horses, but they would not win the battle, man. And I'm actually going to play this clip right quick and chime on in. Just listen to Nas.
Fuck with your soul like ether. Teach you the king, you.
You see that? Mess with your soul like ether, because ether is the air of the gods. And when you understand what this whole beef about, I already broke it down, but I'm not going to go too deep into it. But when you understand what that whole situation with him and Nas and Jay-Z was about, if you know Jay-Z, remember they do the blasphemy aspect. He's the rock. Remember I was just talking about the whole aspect of the cube. And remember I was talking about how they want to knock off the pyramid, the headstone, because that represents the Messiah being the head. That's what the whole Illuminati pyramid about. But when you understand the whole aspect of this, you know how Jay-Z is called the Rock Nation. And notice how he called himself Hova. You feel what I'm saying? This is why Nas said, okay, we're going to mess with your soul like ether. We're going to go above you to the point where they basically say what? Remember, I was already talking about the whole aspect of the movie It with Billy. Remember with the floating balloons, man. As it's written, I will ascend. Satan said, I will ascend above the height of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. Hence, I mess with your soul like ether. I go above the rock. I go above the Messiah. That's the whole aspect of them. That's what they're saying, man. It's all in our face. It's all blasphemy. But like I said, it's all about the ones who have the eye to see and the ears to hear. Because if you don't know, if you looking at it, you don't even know what's going on, because throughout time, everything, the Babel Tower has been built up before our face. They've been building a pyramid before our face out of imaginations of men. You feel what I'm saying? Because of what? Satan's confusion and Satan's deceit and Satan's agenda to try to become as the Most High. This is why they did the whole King Von sacrifice, so that they can say, okay, look, now we took the root of David away. The crucifixion, the root of David away, so we'll rule and keep our kingdom going. Hint the windy city opening the gates. Satan is the prince of air. And I'm actually going to end that right here. I just wanted to give y'all a little quick special and really elaborate further on what I mean about all of this symbolism concerning King Von. So thank you for watching Hide and Seek TV. Much more is coming. Continue subscribing. Let's reach my goal of 1,000. I'm putting that right here. Peace.